Alright, so greetings everyone. I will request you all to turn on your camera and we'll be waiting just 1 more minute to make sure that everyone has joined. Are running a bit late today, so till then we'll begin with the roll call and we might take one more to the caucus. Right, so I'll begin with the roll call. Delegate of Afghanistan. Delegate of Afghanistan. Okay. Delegate of India.
Present.
Delegate of Indonesia. Delegate of Indonesia. Delegate of Canada. Delegate of Brazil.
Present.
Delegate of Russia.
Russia is here.
Delegate of Belarus.
Present.
Delegate of United Kingdom.
Present and voting.
Delegate of China.
Here.
Delegate of Vietnam. Delegate of Vietnam. All right. Delegate of Lithuania.
Present.
Delegate of Germany.
Present.
Delegate of Australia. Delegate of Australia. Right. Delegate of Italy. Delegate of Italy. Delegate of Zimbabwe.
Present.
Delegate of Austria.
Present.
Delegate of Sri Lanka.
Present and voting.
Delegate of United Arab Emirates.
Present and voting.
Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of United States of America. Delegate of Bangladesh. Delegate of Bangladesh. Delegate of Turkey. Delegate of Turkey. Delegate of New Zealand.
Present.
Delegate of Mexico.
Present.
Delegate of Denmark.
Present.
Delegate of Ukraine.
Present.
Hello, I am the delegate of Afghanistan. I have just joined.
Till then, would any one of you like to raise a motion for the caucus? All right. Delegate of Iran. Why don't you raise the motion?
The delegate of Iran would like to raise a motion to start the moderate caucus on the reasons for the debt crisis.
Reasons for the debt crisis. Okay, now delegate of India.
Yes,
Yeah, would you like to raise the motion for any other topic, or this is the same topic?
it is the same topic. Thank you.
And what about the delegate of United Kingdom?
Oh, we were going to raise the same motion. Thank you. We are distracting our motion.
Just give me a second.
Excuse me.
Sorry about that. I went to the another one, and I'm here now. Sorry about that.
The delegate of Vietnam has joined, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so since Krida, you are on mute. Your voice is not audible. No, you're not audible.
Audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Right. So, greetings everyone. I am Kridesh Sharma and I am serving as the Charge d'Affaires for SMSIMUN. It's a great privilege to have you all here. So, I believe our executive board members will be joining in some time. So, let's start this again. I believe we have Afghanistan and Vietnam. So, if Miss Prakshi they could mark them. Now, let's start with the moderate caucus. So, all those delegates who are there any motions on the floor?
One motion was raised by the delegate of Iran.
The motion by the delegation of Iran is in order. Could the motion please be repeated?
The delegate of Iran would like to raise the motion to start the moderate caucus on the reasons of debt crisis for time
Right.
parameters.
Just one moment.
Hold on.
Yes. So I'll just repeat after me. Delegation of Iran. So the correct verbatim of the motion would be: the delegation of Iran would like to suspend the formal debate
The delegation of Iran would like to suspend the formal debate
and move into a moderated caucus
and move into a moderate caucus
for the agenda.
for the agenda.
Just repeat the topic once.
Reasons for the debt crisis.
For each speaker's time being
Time parameters 20:1.
20:1.
Yes.
So each speaker's time will be how much?
1 minute.
60 seconds. 1
Yes,
minute,
60
60 seconds. And total time will be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. So do we have any other motions? Brazil. Ma'am, would you like to raise?
No.
Do we have any other motions? Right, not an issue. We'll be voting upon the motion raised by the delegation of Iran, which is the reasons for a debt crisis. For each speaker's time being 60 seconds and total time being 20 minutes. Delegates in favor of the motion. 4. 9 people. The total committee strength was how much?
27.
Hello.
Krida, could you repeat? Your voice is not audible.
I was asking, is the total committee strength 27, right?
Yes, yeah.
So, just one moment. Just a minute. So, I believe our majority for today would be, OC member, if you could help me out, please. The majority for today,
Would be
considering
15.
15. Right, thank you. So, I believe we need 15 votes for this motion to pass. We have 13. 2 more delegates. 12. 13 again. We will be waiting. We will be counting till 5. We need one more vote for this motion to pass. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This motion is in order. Delegation of Iran, would you like to be the first speaker?
Yes.
Okay. So, right. Could you note down the list once? OC member number.
Sure.
Right. So we have all those delegates who would like to be recognized for this specific moderate caucus. I'd request everyone to lower their hands, please. Okay, so we have done it. Now, all those delegates wishing to add a name to the moderate caucus speech, please raise your hands. We'll be counting till 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. We will not. Right. So we have how many speakers? We have 9 speakers. Anybody else? 10. That's all. Any other speakers interested for this specific moderated caucus? 13. So we have 13 speakers. Right, not an issue. So just a minute. Could you please recognize the speakers?
Sure, I'll do it.
Right. So we'll have Iran first, considering they would like to use their privilege of being the first speaker.
Yes.
Yeah. And then after that,
And
we can go for Pakistan.
Right. Let's just a minute. We'll go for Pakistan exactly. Brazil,
Yeah.
India, Ukraine. India and Brazil, please raise your hands down. Right. Then we'll have Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia. Delegates, it's a request. Please put your hands, lower your hands after you've been recognized. Thank you. Semil Turk, United Kingdom, right? We'll have the delegation of the United Kingdom, Russian Federation, Qatar, Denmark, and has Sri Lanka been recognized?
No, Sri Lanka hasn't been recognized.
Sri Lanka followed by Belarus. That's all. I think everybody can lower their hands down. Now after this, we will be like re-recognizing for speakers. We'll see how the committee proceeds. And also, could the time be shared for 60 seconds?
Prithik, could you repeat?
Could the timer be shared for 60 seconds each, please?
Yeah. Sure, done.
As it, I can't see the timer. Could you please? No, please share it on. Wait, I'll do that. Wait a minute.
Okay, I'll share.
Has it been shared?
Can you see it? Just give me a second.
Right, not an issue. Sri Lanka, you are still raising your hand. To what point do you rise? Right, the timer is visible. Could you please set the timer rather than the stopwatch? That is more convenient.
Okay, got it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have total time 60 seconds. So I will be giving you one tap at 30 and one tap at 60. I hope that is clear to all. Any doubts and concerns? Right, not an issue. Iran, you may start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you, Chair, for giving me a chance to speak. Fellow delegates, the debt crisis is something most of the countries are facing. It causes would include natural disasters such as hurricanes or cyclones, floods, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and large-scale earthquakes. They also include nuclear power plant breakdowns, wars, and other man-made disasters. Debt is also taken for advancements or investment for the country. In addition, debt is taken to recover the budget the country is having when a country is having an unstable budget. Iran's main cause of being in a debt crisis is because of strict sanctions by the US government and because of its imports are getting expensive, mainly because of the devaluation of the currency. These causes not only make it worsen for the Iran's economy, but it also makes its GDP lower. Thank you.
Time's up. Right. Thank you so much, delegation of Iran. Also, delegations, if the committee permits, could we entertain one mandatory question for all the speeches? If anybody has Sri Lanka, would you be against that? Brazil and Sri Lanka, would you be against that?
No, I wanted to ask the question.
Right, just one moment. First, you will be. Please lower your hands down right now. Thank you. Right. So now, firstly, we are asking the whole committee if any delegation has a contradiction for one question in everybody's speech, regardless of if they have left time or not. Is that okay? Does anybody have a contradiction to that? If you have, you may raise your hand. We won't support this. You have 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Well, no. The delegation of Australia, Italy have a contradiction to this idea.
I think that if we are going to put questions, we are going to lose time because yesterday we didn't, not all of us respond. So that's our idea.
Right. So delegations, if you do not wish to respond, you may skip answering the question. That is not a problem. Right. So moving ahead, anybody would like to ask the delegation of Iran question? Right. So we would recognize Brazil, the delegation of Brazil. Ma'am, you may go ahead with your question.
The delegate of Brazil's question to the delegate of Iran is what you've told us about lots of different reasons, but can you give us one reason for any of the different problems you've given us?
Can the delegate of Iran answer the question to the delegate of Brazil?
Right. You may not ask the executive board to
All right.
answer the question. You may go ahead.
All right. The delegate of Iran would like to answer the question to Brazil. Basically, what I just have said, the main causes of the debt crisis, I have mentioned natural disasters and man-made disasters, which are the main causes for the debt crisis. Thank you.
Right. Points
Thank
noted.
you.
Delegation of Brazil and delegation of Iran. Who do we have the next speaker?
We have Pakistan.
Pakistan, you may start with this.
Thank you for recognition. One of the main reasons, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
You are delegation, you're audible.
One of the main reasons for Pakistan's debt crisis is because the funds weren't properly utilized by the government and were used for self-beneficial reasons and not in a way that would benefit the country as a whole. Another cause for Pakistan's debt crisis is the massive defense budget, high interest rates, and irresponsible borrowing. All these things can be reasons for the Pakistan rupee to devalue, which makes paying off debt even more difficult and therefore steers Pakistan into a debt crisis. This also causes inflation to rise about 38% annually, overall causing Pakistan's sovereign debt to exceed $250 billion. Pakistan's central bank has even stated that external debt and other payments have cut foreign exchange reserves to less than $9 billion, which is only enough for just about 6 weeks of imports. Thank you.
Right. Any delegations who would like to ask a question to the delegation of Pakistan? Delegation of Brazil and Iran are not recognized considering they have already been recognized previously by the executive board. Anybody else who is interested to ask the delegation of Pakistan a question? Nobody? Nobody would like to ask? Right, not a problem. Delegation of Pakistan, the executive board had suggestion. Ma'am, you might want to reconsider your points, considering you're the delegation representing Pakistan. So you won't, you won't say bad about your own nation. So hence, you should focus on defending your nation rather than exploiting its secrets. Okay. Thank you for keeping that in mind. Right. Moving ahead, who's the next delegate?
Brazil.
Brazil. Delegation of Brazil, you may go ahead.
Good evening, respected Chair and fellow delegates. The delegate of Brazil would like to talk about some of the main reasons for the occurrence of debt. As I have mentioned before, there are many factors portraying the debt crisis. Government debt is usually created to cover costs from major shock events. Such events would include a major war like World War II, a public health emergency like the COVID-19 pandemic, or a severe economic downturn as with the financial crisis of 2007 and 8. Furthermore, the root reason for debt usually is bad financial decisions made by countries in moments of need. Portugal is a good example, as they owe their high sovereign debt to government actions during the financial crisis of 2008. Italy has been pressurized in these circumstances as well. Italy responded to the onslaught markets with austere measures, which made matters worse, spending GDP growth into negative territory. Even Pakistan has bailed out money for the floods, and that made Pakistan fall further in debt. There are many reasons, but Brazil believes that this is one of the main pointers that started out at the very beginning and can be solved by the IMF's knowledge and expertise. Thank you.
Delegation wishing to ask delegation of Brazil a question. Audible now?
Yes, you are audible now.
Right. So we have Pakistan and Iran. Do we have somebody else wishing to ask the question? Right. So we will not be entertaining any questions for this specific speech. Moving ahead to the next speech, we have the
Delegate of
delegation.
India.
India. Right. Go ahead.
Thank you for the recognition. Nothing happens without reason, and so is the debt crisis. The managing director of IMF, Mrs. Kristalina Georgieva, stated mainly three reasons for the global debt recession. Firstly, all the big economies of the world are scaling at the same time. Eurozone because of the high inflation, high gas prices, Russia's invasion, China because of the Omicron disease, and the problem going on with the real estate sector. US is comparatively better, but then the momentum is towards a slowdown. The second most important reason being the inflation rate. High inflation rate leads to tightening of financial conditions, and high interest rate is the major drag for investment, increasing the reason for the slowdown. Third reason, not being the last one, is fragmentation. The whole world today is fragmented and divided, and each and every country is finding it difficult to find solutions to the common problems in the environment. Thank you.
Right. So before entertaining questions with speech, could the delegation of India please repeat the part where it stated that all the world nation, all the global leaders are stalling? Could we get to know that, please?
Yeah. So all the big economies are scaling and their momentum is towards the slowdown at the same time because of the COVID-19 pandemic, because of the Omicron disease, because of the Russia-Ukraine invasion, because of the high inflation and high gas prices all over the world.
Right. Now we'll be entertaining questions. We'll be recognizing the United Kingdom. Sir, you may go ahead.
Thank you. So my question to the delegate of India will be about the delegate of India stated that the momentum of the economy is it's towarded to the slower rate. So could the delegates, if I please, could the delegates elaborate on the part that the delegates spoke about the momentum? Thank you.
According to the International Monetary Fund's report, 2022 report, they stated that momentum meaning the overall growth of the United States is towards a slowdown, and all the big economies like China, China's economy growth is 3.2% for this year, which is lower since 40 years. So the growth is towards a slowdown, meaning the economies are suffering due to the global problems going on around the world.
Thank you.
The whole week, pediatric, so they will be informed that they're on unmute, please. Thank you, question member. Right, considering the nature of this question, we would be entertaining one more question from the delegations. So, delegates wishing to ask a question, you have one more opportunity. Right, we have Pakistan, United Kingdom, Afghanistan. Sir, you recognize? Please ask the question.
Thank you for the recognition. The delegate of Afghanistan would like to ask the delegate of India. Was it a coincidence or was it just fully deliberately that?
Can you please elaborate on your question? Like, what was the coincidence, or was
Right,
it deliberate?
you were talking about this P5 stalling, right? Honorable delegation of Afghanistan.
Yes.
Well, okay. Let me let me elaborate on the question. Now, what the honorable delegation of Afghanistan is trying to say here is that they're asking you if that all the P5 together they are facing some of the other crises as you stated, right? Russia, Ukraine war, Russia is facing, then USA is facing some sort of crisis, China is facing, right? So the simple question is that do you think it's a coincidence or is it's a deliberate attempt by all the P5 to do this?
I don't think it's a deliberate attempt. I think it's just fate and coincidence, because no country would like to move towards the slowdown if if they were performing so well, and they would like to expand more rather than to slow down their momentum. So all the global crises that we are facing right now are just a coincidence, I believe.
Can I have a plea to follow up?
Denied, sir, but thank you for asking the please denied for now. We'll be having the next speaker. A good question by no, a very good, a good question by Afghanistan, and a very good answer by the Republic of India. Right, who is the next speaker?
Ukraine, delegate of Ukraine.
Ukraine. Please go ahead.
The delegate of Ukraine want to speak about solution and would like to say the fact that in order to combat economic crisis in Ukraine, they should accept some partnerships with other countries such as the USA in order to be supported economically. Thus, it said that the USA paid Ukraine 20% of the government debt and thus they recovered. However, given the political and security imperatives of the Ukraine crisis, the donatic alternative is even worse one, which is to allow USA invest funds to pursue enormous damages cases, likely in the billions of dollars, against the future Ukrainian administration, which even in the best scenario will be on a weak domestic political footing and will be already have unpopular austerity. This outcome would be more than a public relationship nightmare. Ideally, the world should have a well-functioning international mechanism.
Requested to wrap up, ma'am. You are requested to wrap up. Your time is up.
Okay.
Please wrap up. Ma'am, please wrap up your speech. You could continue. You have 5 seconds. Please wrap up. Please conclude with your speech.
Okay, I have just one idea. Ideally, the world should have a well-functioning international mechanism for surviving bond restructuring.
Right. Could you please repeat the last part? Could you please be kind enough to repeat the last part?
Yes, I haven't a good network. Sorry for this.
No, we lost your voice.
International mechanism for sovereign bond restructuring.
Right. International mechanism is what you're stating, right?
Hi everyone, I'm back.
Right. I believe a
Sorry for this.
chairperson is here.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
afternoon, sir.
I'm really
Please.
sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm 30 minutes late. Actually, I was at work and it's a Friday night in Australia. So anywhere, regardless of the fact wherever you are, it will take you 45 minutes to drive back. So it took me that much time. So I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. So whatever, can anyone can any of the secretariat members or sum up what happened today in the 30
Right.
minutes?
We have started with the moderate caucus topic. So we've had Iran, Pakistan, Brazil, India, and we just had delegation of Ukraine. We've entertained it is the reasons for debt crisis, the moderate caucus topic, and we entertained one mandatory question for every speech.
No, you don't have to. In mod caucuses, there's no question, and I also mentioned it in the chat. So if you
Right, not an issue. You could skip doing that.
okay, Prede, can you share your marking with me for today up till now, and I'll continue from now. Um, and please share the recognition sheet as well.
Right now, right. I'll do that.
Yeah. Is Parth here? Anyone from the secretariat is Parth here?
No, bhaiya.
Can someone try contacting him? Yeah. All good. Sorry about that, delegates. Um, I'm just waiting for the recognition sheet to arrive. Yep. So next up, we have the delegate of Afghanistan. Now, from now on, I'm just taking care of the proceedings. Don't worry. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Greetings. Thank you, EP, for the recognition. The delegate of Afghanistan would like to discuss the reasons for a debt crisis, like excessive risk-taking in a macroeconomic environment, increased borrowing by banks and investors, regulation and policy errors. While this all happened in the GFC in 2007 to 2009, it is still happening now. Even after the GFC, we have not completely learned from it. It was a period of extreme stress around the world. While in Afghanistan, there are many reasons for a debt crisis to happen, like the recent Taliban takeover, 4 decades of conflict, and severe drought. It can really affect the country's economy. It can really affect every country's economy to not work upon these reasons. It is very crucial that we analyze the GFC in 2007, as we can learn a lot from it and improve on our the in, and evade a global debt crisis. While Afghanistan can also fall into a debt crisis, which can be very harmful for the country, the delegate still stands by the fact that if we catch all of these reasons early and analyze the crisis wholeheartedly, we can evade a debt crisis in the future as well. Thank you.
Points were noted, delegate. The next delegate is. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Delegate of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Saudi Arabia, are you there?
Please wait a sec.
Yeah, yeah.
As the delegate has been recognized by the chair, it will proceed towards its topic. A country can enter into a debt crisis when the tax revenues of its government are less than its expenditures for a prolonged period. In any country, the government finances its expenditures primarily by raising money through taxation. When tax revenues are insufficient, the government can make up the difference by issuing debt. That is done primarily by selling government treasury bills in the open market to investors. There could be other reasons as well for the debt crisis, such as natural disasters and others. Saudi Arabia, with its massive oil reserves and tourism to counter its debts, mostly doesn't require any debts to be borrowed frequently. Furthermore, it has established a track record of paying back what it borrowed. That's why it normally borrows short-term debts if it's lacking anywhere and pays it back in the promised time. Thank you.
Can they take over for 2 minutes for the next two
Well,
speeches?
not an issue. We've just had Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes.
The next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Delegate of United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. You may continue.
Thank you for the recognition, Sherwood. So we as the United Kingdom are aware of a lot of reasons that causes the debt crisis all around the world. But we'd like to say that the war in Ukraine and invasion is impacting our economy as well as is affecting our global economy. So even though there are a lot of reasons that including is poor governance about the economy and the needed consultancy about the management of the economy, we'd like to say that man-made war is one of the worst things that can cause this economy to collapse. So, beyond the suffering and humanitarian crisis from Russia's disruptive invasion of Ukraine, the entire global economy will feel the effects of slower growth and faster inflation. So are we right now. Impacts are flowing through three main channels. One, higher prices for commodities like food and energy will push up inflation further, in turn eroding the value of incomes, weighing on demand. Two, neighboring economies in particular grapple with disrupted trade, supply chains, and remittance, as well as an historic surge in refugee flows. And three, reduced business confidence and higher investor uncertainty will weigh on asset prices, tightening financial conditions and potentially spurring capital outflows from emerging markets. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. So I'm back. Sorry about that. Next up, we have the delegate of Russia.
Thank you for the recognition. I'll get straight to the point. A technical default occurred in Russia on June 27th. It is connected with dollar bonds of the Ministry of Finance. The balance in the amount of $552 million of the Russian Federation had to be paid on April the 4th, but the United States had imposed a ban on the use of frozen dollar reserves to make payments for foreign debt. The Russian Federation has faced problems because of the general license. The license allowed Russia to pay debts on bonds, but on May the 25th, the US Treasury revoked it and Citibank ceased to perform the role of a payment agency for dollar bonds of the Russian Federation. World rating agencies considered the situation critical and announced a downgrade of the Russian credit rating. It's too early to talk about a real default in Russia. Russia has the capacity and desire to prevent a technical default. There is enough money in the country, but technical reasons make payments impossible. The country's financial sector will maintain stability and creditworthiness. There may be problems with consumer demand, which will cause possible bankruptcies of some small and medium-sized businesses focused on it. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate of Russia. We move forward. To the delegate of Qatar.
Thank you for your recognition. Oil and petroleum are one of the key causes of crisis in Qatar. On June 5, Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Bahrain cut ties with Qatar. Additionally, they prohibited their own nations from visiting or staying in Qatar and gave Qatari citizens 14 days to depart their land. Kuwait and Oman, two of the six nations that make up the Gulf Cooperation Council, chose to maintain their ties with Qatar. Kuwait has volunteered to arbitrate the conflict. The 2.7 million people who live in Qatar are dependent on imports for their basic necessities, and 40% of the food was brought in across the land border with Saudi Arabia. When Turkey and Iran started supplying food by air, the initial rush by people to stock up on necessities at Doha supermarkets swiftly faded. According to three resources with knowledge of the situation, Qatar's government has asked foreign banks to investigate refinancing more than $10 billion in debt that is due in 2019. Thank you.
Next, we have is the
Next,
delegate of Denmark.
Denmark.
After that, Krede, take over. Yeah.
Thank you
Right.
for recognition. The delegate of Denmark would like to talk about the recovery of the Danish economy. The Danish economy was hit by a sharp downturn after the financial crisis and subsequently took a long time to recover from the recession. Since 2013, the economy has been in the upswing, and the real gross national product (GDP) is currently 8% higher than in 2007. Just before the crisis erupted, several of Denmark's neighboring countries have performed better in terms of pure GDP development. This applies to Sweden and Germany. Denmark has continuously improved in its terms of trade over a long period of time. In other words, Danish companies have been able to sell their products at even higher prices, while import prices have risen less. Improved terms of trade increases the population's consumption opportunities beyond what real GDP growth warrants. In contrast, Sweden's terms of trade have deteriorated over the last couple of decades, and since the financial crisis, the trend has been virtually flat. If all this is added together, the result is an annual rate of growth in GNI per capita for population aged 20 to 64 years, adjusted for terms of trade, and is a better measure for prosperity development in a society. GNI stands for gross national income, and the 20 to 64-year-olds have been defined as the population of working age. Thank you for leading your attention.
Right. Thank you, delegation. The next speaker would be the delegation of Sri
Sri
Lanka.
Lanka.
Sri Lanka, right.
Thank you for the recognition. When we focus on the Sri Lankan debt crisis, it is essential to view the situation from a legal standpoint. Sri Lanka witnessed the highest inflation since 2015 at a whopping rate of 70.2%. The backbones of this crisis are namely backfiring of major financial policies and decisions, weak history of weak governments, badly timed tax cuts, COVID-19 shouldered with Easter bombing. Sri Lanka's National Consumer Price Index rose to a new high of 73.7% in September from a year earlier, quickening from 70.2% in August, according to the Statistics Department. Annual food price inflation picked up to 85.8% from 84.6% in August, while prices of non-food items rose 62.8%. Sri Lanka's central bank governor Nandanal Veerasinghe predicted earlier that inflation in the island nation is peaking, with the price rises likely to ease by this end of this month. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe the next speaker is the delegation of Belarus.
Thank you for recognition. The situation in Belarus is gradually deteriorating. Country is unable to repay its external debt due to economic sanctions. The developments come after Republic of Belarus was declared in default by Moody's Investor Service, which said Russia's ally hadn't kept up on its debt obligations to foreign investors. Belarus announced at the end of June that dollar payments would instead be paid in local rubles to a Belarus bank account. This option is not suitable for creditors. At the same time, the level of GDP in Belarus is gradually falling, mainly due to a decrease in exports to other countries. There's money in the state for further payment of loans, but technical issues make payments impossible. So that is why default is possible in Belarus due to the inability to transfer money abroad. Well, in fact, as a result, there is no real default in Belarus, but the state can pay off debts, but foreign banks prevent this. Thank you for your attention.
Right. I believe we have exhausted the specific moderate caucus list. We would be hoping we'd be requiring more speakers, but the ones who've already given their speeches will not be recognized. So delegations who've not uh, given their speech and are interested to speak, you may raise your hands. Canada, Lithuania. We have a delegation of Australia, right?
Yes,
We have a
so yes, we're the delegate of Australia and Italy because the delegate of Italy had some problem with connection.
right. So I believe we didn't have Canada and Lithuania, right? So the delegation of Australia, right? So now we'll be recognizing the delegation of Australia, followed by the delegation of Canada, followed by Lithuania. Canada, are you still willing to be a speaker of this moderate caucus? Delegation of Canada, are you willing to be a speaker of this moderated caucus?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So we have the recognition, delegation of Australia. Right. Actually, the delegation of Australia and Italy. Which one would seek recognition?
Both of us.
Both of you. Okay, not an issue. So, ladies and gentlemen, the recognition list. I believe the IEP members have come. Could they be admitted OC member? Right. Thank you. So we'll have the delegation of Australia, followed by Canada, followed by Italy, followed by Lithuania. That will be all. Delegation of Australia, you have the floor for 90 seconds, 60 seconds, sorry. Could the time, could the time be shared, please?
Yeah, just a second.
Uh, a lot of
All right. Is my screen visible?
Yes, you may start in 3, 2, 1. You may start.
can please can the delegation of Canada speak before me because we are with the other delegation here and I can hear you very well and I can follow the delegation of Canada, please.
All right, that will not be an issue. I hope the delegation of Canada is okay with it.
Yeah.
Delegation of Canada, I hope you have no problem being the first speaker.
Okay.
Right, you may start in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So, in an article for Forbes published a few days ago, he says 7 countries are most likely to suffer an economic crisis in the next 1 to 3 years: China, Australia, Sweden, Hong Kong, South Korea, Canada, and Norway. Canadians collectively owe more than 208% of GDP, and private debt to GDP grew more rapidly than the Great One between 2011 and 2016. Private debt grew from 182% of GDP to 208%, well above the benchmark rate of growth for 5 years. The debt crisis could hit Canada when Canadians decide to stop borrowing more. First, existing debt must be rolled over and interest on the debt high. Second, for the economy to keep growing, borrowers must add new debt to finance an expansion in consumption, business investment, real estate, automobiles, and speculation. The coming crisis can be delayed but not averted. For example, in 2006, a change in government policy accelerated the incipient borrowing boom when 40-year amortizations and zero down payment guidelines were introduced for housing loans. When the crisis nears, a warning sign will appear as a drop in the rate of private debt growth. This ebbing of new money flow will reduce demand, and if it persists, will being on recession. Lenders will pull back, worsening the recession, leading to an increase in bankruptcies and even more caution among lenders. Elected officials will become alarmed and take action. Canada is fortunate to have a relatively small amount of public debt and triple a credit rating, and therefore are in good position to mitigate the severity of the crisis. Thank you.
How much time was elapsed, OC member?
30 seconds.
Right. So, delegation of Canada, you're supposed to keep a tab on the time. A provision with the timer has been given
Move
to you. The
forward,
timer is being shared.
move forward.
Okay.
Regardless, let them speak
Thank
for how long they want to speak. Like, until unless it's like too much above the limit, 30 seconds is something we can let go of. So just move
All right.
forward.
Okay. We have the next delegation, the delegation of Australia. Are you ready to speak now?
Yes, I'm ready to speak. Can I
Right. You may
start?
start. You have the floor. You may start
Point of
whenever you.
parliamentary inquiry.
Uh, right. We saw the hand raised United Kingdom. We would be recognizing you after Australia. But what point do you rise to?
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Right. What is a parliamentary inquiry?
So we'd like to know that even since we are in moderated caucus, could the chairboard repeat the topic of the moderated caucus? Thank you.
Right. So, the topic for the moderated caucus is reasons for debt for the cause of the debt crisis, and was proposed by the delegation of Iran.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yes, delegation of Australia. You must continue.
Okay, you tell me when I start, okay?
We may start in 3 to 1.
Okay.
Go ahead, delegation. You may start.
Oh, Australia confronts declining prices in commodities, a shrinking currency, and net foreign debt that exceeds $1 trillion. Surviving the long-term debt problem is an increasing concern, particularly if U.S. interest rates begin to rise while commodity prices do no more than stabilize around current levels, writes Philip Bowring for the Asia Sentinel. Direct foreign investment is weakening because most of the mining and infrastructure related spending for the China export boom is now over. The country is running on a deficit budget, and without a rise in commodity prices, Boring concludes that a recession is possible. Such economic troubles become a major issue for domestic politics, spurring protectionist urges even as economies rely on overseas customers, lenders, and investors. Thank you.
Points for delegate. I believe the next delegate we have is the delegation of Lithuania.
Can the delegation of Italy speak after me?
Ma'am, we have a specific list to follow, and that according to the recognition list, Italy is after Lithuania.
Okay. Sorry.
And for such
Okay.
queries, just one moment, delegation of Lithuania. And for such queries, delegation of Australia, you may raise a point of personal privilege or a point of parliamentary inquiry. Right, delegation of Lithuania, you have the floor for 60 seconds. You may start whenever you want to.
Thank you for your permission. So let's talk about some reasons for debt crisis. It is caused by climate change, wars, lack of economic knowledge, big numbers of people and little space for them, homelessness, too little resource, and bad geopolitical places to live in. Bad IT knowledge, brain drainage, and taking on too much debt can threaten a country's stability. In debt, services become too high. It can detract some service that citizens need. Also, joblessness can also. Thank you for listening.
Timer be paused, please. Could time be paused? Right, do not reset it. Please pause it. Right. Delegation of Lithuania. Would you like to speak more, or would you like to yield the time?
I'm done talking.
Right, not an issue. The next delegate is delegation of Italy. Right. You may go ahead. The timer can be reset now.
Okay, you may start. Can I start?
You may start. You have the floor. You may start whenever you want to.
Okay, so 10 years after the Italian Prime Minister's so-called whatever it takes pledge saved the euro, Italy finds itself again in a debt crisis. One of the major reasons of the crisis is Italy's secular lack of economic growth. In the summer of 2022, the Italian Prime Minister who saved Italy from debt crisis 10 years ago chose to resign, making the situation much worse. At present, the Italian government debt consists of 2.5 trillion euros. Even though Italy has been supported financially by international leaders, because Italy has not done enough to kickstart growth despite some changes to its pension system, labor market, and its notoriously slow justice system, Italy will struggle a lot and will take an enormous amount of effort and time to stabilize the situation. Thank you.
Points noted, delegate. I believe then this moderate caucus has expired. Anybody else wishing to speak in it, except the speakers who've already done?
Ended. No more speakers for this one.
Right, now we'll be ending with this moderate caucus. Thank you.
Krede, please share the marking. I have asked you twice, please.
Right. I am just doing it. I'll share it with you. The last 3 speakers are left. Right.
All right. So there are still speakers left on the moderate caucus?
No. I believe this moderate caucus is lapsed. I am marking this last speaker. I'll just share.
All right. Good. Yeah. Well, I heard like not every speech in this moderate caucus. I started hearing from the delegate of Afghanistan. I'm pretty impressed with the level of research you guys have brought to the table today. So kudos to you guys. Don't worry if you were fumbling or just because in MUNs, even if you fumble, your marks don't get deducted just because my job as an executive board member is I should have mentioned this earlier when the committee started, but I didn't, so I'll mention it now. My job as an executive board member is not to judge you, is just merely moderating. All right. So even if you have even if you are low on confidence and you give it your best shot, trust me, it's worth giving a best shot just because at the end of the day you might win an award, which really boosts up your confidence. All right. Um, I'm just over here listening to your content and marking it, regardless of the way you say it. Even on chits, GSL, moderate caucus, opening statements, questions, I'm just marking your content, regardless the way it comes. So yeah, uh, I guess what I'll do is I'll have a 15 minutes break with you. I have few things to discuss and sort out with the secretariat. For the 15-minute break that we will be taking later on in the committee, I'll rather take it now just because I need to catch up with the vice chairperson of the committee. Uh, yeah. So it's what time in India at the moment? It's 4:05, I guess.
It's 4:04 right now. 4:04 exactly.
Yeah. So considering it's 4:05, so Indian Standard Time we resume at 4:20. All right.
Right, greetings, delegates. Hoping you are back. Right, we'll be resuming the committee. We have your executive board members here. Mr. Parth Batla, welcome, sir. Right. So let's start.
Right. Yep. So, Kriti, can brief me a little about what happened in the committee when I was not there?
Right, we have had a moderate caucus topic on the reasons of debt crisis,
All
and
right.
we had approximate about 18 delegates.
All right, 18 delegates. All right, good. So, executive board will be looking for another moderate caucus at this point, and if anyone of you have a motion to raise, feel free to go forward. I'll be recognizing you from your raise hand feature, so you can just raise your hands. Right, I'll take Brazil, I'll take Afghanistan, and I'll take India.
The delegation of Brazil would like to suspend the formal debate for a moderated caucus on the topic the impact of COVID-19 on the debt crisis.
All right, the impact of COVID-19 on debt crisis for individual speakers time being
Being 60 seconds,
and total time being
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So, Kriti, have you get it noted?
60-20, right?
Yeah, 60-20.
Noted.
All right, cool. We'll go ahead with Afghanistan now.
Actually, I had the same point, so sorry.
So, delegate, which
This
country is
is
this?
to second the motion.
Which country is this delegate?
It's
Who just spoke?
Afghanistan.
Okay, it's
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. All right, all right. And then we'll take India.
The delegate of India would like to suspend the formal debate and move into the moderated caucus on the agenda, reviewing current debt facilities for countries for total time being 20 minutes and each speaker getting 60 seconds. Thank you.
Okay, so 120 and reviewing current debt facilities for countries, right? All right. I also recognize United Kingdom, so you can go ahead with the motion, sir.
Thank you. We like to suspend the formal debate and move on with the moderate caucus and upon the impact of geopolitical instability, impact of geopolitical instability on that crisis. Thank you.
All right, you didn't specify the time, sir. So the individual speaker's timing.
Total time being 15 minutes and individual time being 1 minute. Thank you.
All right, so credit 15:1, and you got a topic, right?
Right.
Yep. Okay, so given the order of precedence, we'll be voting upon the motion by, I think,
India sounds good, right?
no, who was the first motion?
First motion was from the delegation of Brazil. Impact
Yep,
of
so
COVID-19 on debt crisis.
that's right.
60-20.
We'll be voting upon the motion by Brazil. If you are in the favor of the motion, just raise your hand. Those who are against the motion may raise their hands. Delegates who are against the motion may raise their hands now.
So the motion is for the impact on COVID-19, right?
Yeah, that's one. Delegates, I see not everyone is voting. I want everyone to vote once again. Delegates who are in favor of this motion may raise their
I'm
hands now.
sorry. I am really sorry. Did we have a vote on impact of COVID-19 on debt crisis?
No, we still having
Was
a
it
vote.
passed?
No, we're still having a
No.
vote.
Okay, that is still going for vote. Right, good.
Alright, I see 4 hands to support the motion. 5 hands. Alright. Delegates, I'll give you 10 more seconds to just raise your hand to support the motion, and that will seal it. Delegates have taken note of the account. Delegates who are against this motion may raise their hands.
Six people.
All the delegates, given that it did not achieve the quorum, this unfortunately does not pass. We'll move on to the next motion by delegate of India. So, Kriti, can you repeat the motion for them?
Right. I believe the motion is reviewing current debt facilities. Delegation of India proposes motion for each speaker's timing 60 seconds and total timing 20 minutes.
All right.
Delegates in favor, right, raise your hands, please. 5, 6. Our total majority is how much, sir? It's 13, right?
Whether the number of delegates have increased. Now there are 29 present in the committee.
29. Okay. We have a few journalists and all, right? IP members too. So, including that, could you please check once who all have entered?
Just give me a second.
Right, not an issue, ma'am.
All right, I think the quorum is 15. Yeah. This does not pass too. Why are you guys not voting, delegates? I want all of you to vote, right? Because in a committee we want consensus based moderate caucus, right? Because you have been given these moderate caucus. I want everyone to vote, and now we'll vote upon the moderate caucus raised by delegate of United Kingdom. Delegates who are in the favor of the moderate caucus may raise their hands now. Delegates who are against this motion may raise their hands now. Seeing this motion fails too. Delegates need to understand the fact that if you keep failing motions like that, you won't be able to really proceed with the committee forward, right? So you need to have a consensus over what topics you need to discuss. So given discretion, I'll be giving you a 5-minute break so where you can go in and discuss what topics you will be discussing and give me at least 3 moderate caucus. Raise them once again, alright? You have a 5-minute break. You can discuss what you want to do forward, what moderate caucus you want to raise, and then come back. Are you guys alright with that? Alright, so you are into break. You can just talk freely with anyone. Just make sure that you're not cutting on anyone. And alright, and be civil. Yeah, thank you.
Right. I believe we'll be resuming the committee at 4:35 then, right?
Yeah, that's right, sir.
We'll be resuming the committee at 4:35 IST.
Excuse me, you said that we should discuss so from Telegram or from this platform.
You can just speak here, sir. Like everyone can just
Speaker.
speak here. Just make sure you're civil, right?
Okay, thank you. So I think since I raised the motion beforehand, so my motion was about the geopolitical instability and that its impact on the that crisis. So I believe that the geopolitical instability is something that affects every single country and every single region that exists in the world, including it might be about some conflicts in the Europe, some conflicts in the Asia, Far East Asia, or any other region that you can imagine actually. And since also there is pandemic's impact on the global debt crisis. But I do not think that any single country there disagrees with any other country about the pandemic. I think we have the same opinion about pandemic. Yes, pandemic has affected badly on that crisis, but I think when it comes to geopolitical instability, we all have something to talk upon, and we all have different things to mention and discuss. So that's why I think that discussing the geopolitical instability in this comedy can really make us proceed with the comedy and make us proceed with the debate. Thank you.
I must say that there wasn't such motion in list of moderated caucus. So there were only 5 topics that we should talk about.
I don't think we have to do we only have to do these caucuses. I mean, I'm not, if I'm mistaken, please correct me, the chair. But I think that we can also we can also talk about another topics that we find appropriate. I mean, I believe that they were only example for us, but if I'm mistaken, please correct me, chair. Thank you.
The delegate agrees with Brazil. The moderate caucus that Brazil has presented.
I guess we should raise the motion of Brazil.
The delegate of India feels that the moderated caucus for debt facilities should be raised because right now we discussed about the reasons for the debt crisis, and in the opening speech yesterday we discussed about the impact, the reasons, but then we should also review the debt facilities that our committee, that is International Monetary Fund, has provided to the countries to help them get rid of debt or to help the low income countries and the members countries. So that's my point.
The delegate Brazil think we should talk about the impact on COVID-19 on the debt crisis because lots of countries have been highlighted because of the COVID-19. COVID-19 has impacted the debt crisis a lot. It has skyrocketed debt figures. So we should talk about that because that's more important and that's more in the present state and that affects everything.
The delegate of the United Kingdom thinks that if you are to choose from the topics that were given in the telegram, if you are just just to choose from the 5 topics that were given, I think the most appropriate thing that we can talk is the motion that was given by the delegate of India, since I believe that the recovery from pandemic is something that is what's the word for that? Like, it's something monotonous. All of the countries right there here have economic recovery plans, and I don't think that anybody just wants to read out these recovery plans just out loud. But discussing the deep debt facilities is something that can really make us discuss something. I believe the delegate of India's motion should be voted favor. Thank you.
Yeah, but if we're talking about that, debt facilities isn't such a vast topic. It's something that is straightforward, has only a few points, and those few points can be discussed. But if we're going to use our time for a few topics, we need to use the topics that presently actually impact everybody. So debt facilities is a short topic. There's not much points to it. So you should talk about a topic that has several different effects, several different points to it.
Well,
Delegates, I'm afraid I have to cut you off here because we have elapsed the time for the break given to you guys. I hope that you all are ready with the moderate caucus topics, right? So I'll be looking for delegates who want to raise a moderate caucus topic. You can just raise your hands. Alright, I'll recognize Brazil, I'll recognize Iran, I'll recognize India.
The delegate of Brazil would like to suspend the formal debate to talk about to commence discussion on the moderated caucus topic. On the moderated caucus docket, the impact of COVID-19 on on the debt crisis, time being 20 minutes, and individual speakers' time being 60 minutes.
60 seconds, you mean?
Yeah,
Alright,
60
alright.
seconds.
I'll take Delegate Firan now.
The delegate of Iran would like to raise the same moderate caucus with the time parameters 15 as a total and 1 minute for each speaker.
Okay, 15 ratio 1. Alright. Delegate of India.
The delegate of India would like to suspend the formal debate and move into the moderated caucus on the topic reviewing debt facilities for the countries, for total time being 20 minutes and individual speaker time being 60 seconds. Thank you.
Right. So, given that we only had 3 motions raised, we'll be going in the order of precedence, and we'll be voting upon the motion raised by delegate of Brazil first, which talks about the impact of COVID-19 on debt crisis for individual speakers time being 1 minute and total time being 20 minutes. Delegates who are in favor of this motion may raise their hands now. I need to see at least 15 votes in order to pass this. I'll wait 10 more seconds. Alright, delegate for against this motion may raise their hands. I only see 3 hands in against and 8 hands who are in favor. There are a lot of delegates who aren't really voting. I won't really like to call out the names, but I would like to remind them that it is important to vote here. Alright, so this motion fails. We'll vote upon the motion by India now. Sorry, was anyone saying something? Right. The delegate of India raised a motion for reviewing debt facilities around the countries for total timing 20 minutes and individual speakers timing 1 minute. Delegates who are in favor of this motion may raise their hands now. Delegates who are against this motion may raise their hands now. Alright, seeing as not a lot of you are voting and this motion considerably fails too, I'll be
Excuse
doing
me.
yes.
I think that like since a lot of the delegates are not like voting, whichever motion has the most for votes should be done.
Yeah, we can technically do that, but that won't be really right for the procedure. But given that we have the paucity of time, if all of you are okay with it, can we do that? Just give me a show of hand if you can, if you guys are okay with that. I do see some hands. Yep, I'll just go with that. So, delegate of India has had more votes than the delegate of Brazil's motion, and then we'll go with his delegate of India's motion. So now we enter a moderate caucus for 20 minutes with individual speakers' time being 1 minute on the topic being reviewing debt facilities. Right. So now we'll be recognizing speakers for this moderate caucus. So delegates who are wishing to be recognized may raise their hands now. Alright. I'll recognize United Kingdom followed by Brazil, followed by India, followed by Russia, followed by Iran, followed by Lithuania, followed by Saudi Arabia, followed by Saudi Arabia. Delegates, if you have been recognized, I'll request you to lower down your hands. Followed by Afghanistan, right. Followed by New Zealand. I think that's all. I do not see any new speakers. I'll request Russia and Saudi Arabia to lower down their hands. Russia and Saudi Arabia, you guys are recognized. You can just lower down your hands. Saudi Arabia, you can lower down your hand. So we'll be moving on with the first speaker now. The delegate of United Kingdom, you have the floor, sir, for 1 minute.
Thank you for the recognition. So we, as a delegation of the United Kingdom, would like to state that that crisis is a big problem all around the world, both including, economically powerful countries and poor countries. Well, it's a problem for all of us and the people of the United Nations. So in this case, the debt facilities is so important to keep countries alive and their economies. So International Monetary Fund plays a big role in doing that. And as the largest contributor to the International Monetary Fund for the debt facilities, you find debt facilities so crucial for a lot of countries. So that is everywhere in every single country, but in some countries, that facilities is more than needed. So in order to provide for that, we as the delegation of the United Kingdom suggest that we as the International Monetary Fund should be providing more contribution to the International Monetary Fund so that the International Monetary Fund can provide the appropriate debt facilities for the countries that are in need. Thank you.
All right, delegates, thank you so much. After that, after the United Kingdom, we have the delegate of Brazil. The delegate of Brazil, you have the floor.
May the delegate of Brazil come later?
You want to come
Yes,
later?
yes, delegate, that's all right. We'll just accommodate you at the last. That's all right with you?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, cool. Right now we have delegate of India. Yeah, delegate of India, go ahead, please.
Thank you for the recognition. With the spread of COVID-19, the world faced an unprecedented challenge. The first, threatening the lives of the people, and the second, sharply reducing economic activity and threatening livelihood. Whereas the International Monetary Fund provides financial assistance and debt relief to low-income countries and member countries. The measures taken by the IMF are: the International Monetary Fund announced that it would make available $100 billion through the emergency lending instruments. Secondly, no interest loans for low-income countries through rapid credit facility. It also enhances its catastrophe containment and relief trust. It is a donor-funded program of debt relief for the low-income countries. IMF also uses SDR, that is the special drawing rights, which increases countries' international resources and reduces their reliance on external debt. At the end, I would like to say that IMF provided relief to total of 90 countries with financial assistance of $170,570.29 million. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next on we have delegate of Russia. Delegate of Russia, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for the recognition. I will talk about the debt facilities for Russia. Well, and I must mention that Russian Federation doesn't need more debt, and that we suppose that IMF should help another countries, for example, Africa and poor and other poor countries. Well, Uh, let's get started. As of April the 1st, 2021, Russia's public debt increased by 1.9%, reaching $472 billion and amounted to 18% of the projected GDP. This indicator is one of the lowest in the world, the lowest in the world. The ratio of the state debt of the Russian Federation to the projected level of GDP was 18%, as I had already said. This is slightly
Delegate,
above.
I have to stop you here because you have elapsed
Okay.
your time. Yeah.
Okay.
Your valid points. Next up, we'll move on to Delegate of Iran.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair, for giving me a chance to speak. Fellow delegates, debt facilities should include provision of loans with less to no interests, followed by economical support by developed countries with a balanced budget and supplement of resources, new ideas, suggestions, and measures to restore the damaged economy. Although what we all see is provision of loans, resources, and suggestions. In many countries, the actions to recover the debt crisis hasn't been taken, and in some developing countries, the resources are not provided with equality. I would also mention that the developed countries sure would be saying that they do not need much more help, and other developing countries need help. I would suggest that actions should be taken immediately so that the debt crisis should end immediately as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate. Points well noted. Next up, we move on to Delegate of Lithuania. Delegate of Lithuania.
Yes.
All right, ma'am. You have the floor for 1 minute.
Can I present now?
Sorry? Yeah, you can present now.
Okay. Thank you for recognition. So public debt in developing countries has increased to levels not seen since 1980s. These factors combined with global economy uncertainty create the debt vulnerabilities. The World Bank and International Monetary Fund announced a multi-pronged approach to address these issues. The Debt Management Facility, DMF, a multi-donor trust fund, has an important role to play in supporting the interpretation of this approach, particularly in matters related to debt management and debt transparency. Thank you.
All right, Delegate, thank you for your speech. Next up, we have the Delegate of Saudi Arabia. Delegate of Saudi Arabia, are you here?
Yeah, please wait a minute.
Sure, Delegate. Are you ready, Delegate?
Yes. So
All
I'll
right,
continue.
you have the floor for 1 minute.
As the executive board has given me the permission, as the executive board has given the delegate the permission, the current debt facilities working for countries include the IMF itself. The International Monetary Fund works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all its 190 member countries. It supports economic policies that promote financial stability and monetary cooperation, essential to increase productivity, job creation, and economic well-being. The IMF is governed by and is accountable to its member countries. The IMF promotes global macroeconomics and financial stability and provides policy advice and capacity development support to help countries build and maintain strong economies. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Next up, we have the Delegate of Afghanistan.
Greetings. Thank you, EB, for the recognition. The delegate of Afghanistan would like to focus on two primary debt facilities for countries. One of them is SBA's Standby Agreements, which is an organization that provides and address short-term or potential balance of payments problems. Like the SBA framework allows the funds given to respond freely to countries' external financing needs, and allows it to support their adjustment policies with short term financing. The length of the SBA is very flexible, with it being providing tailored help for that country, and it can help in preventing a global debt crisis, while the other organization, being the PLL, provides financing to meet potential balance of payments needs with countries and sound policies that may have remaining vulnerabilities. It is similar to the FCL but with a lower bar, but it provides it provides tools to meet a country's diverse financing needs, and it can help in a debt crisis as well, with providing the correct and exact tools to help the country in a debt crisis. Thank you.
All right, delegate. Points well noted. Next up, we'll move on to the delegate of New Zealand. You have the floor.
Yes, hello.
Yes,
The
delegate, you're
request
audible.
for a debt facility for the New Zealand. The debt financing is critical for development, but temporary level harm growth and the poor. Debt can be useful tool is transparent, well managed, and used in the context of a credible growth policy. But too often, this is not the case. High public debt can inhibit private investment, increase fiscal pressure, reduce social spending, and limits government's ability to implement reform. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next up, we have the delegate of Brazil.
Good evening, respected chairs and fellow delegates. Debt is a problem that has escalated to major levels over the last few years and is caused by several reasons. A country falls into debt not just for one reason, but for several. Debt facilities is the amount of money a lender permits a borrower to borrow and is a crucial part of the journey to fight against the global debt crisis. Debt facilities are something that helps countries further improve their own country through infrastructure, tourism, and more. The IMF is a helpful assistance in this situation and lends money to countries struggling. The IMF's role is to lend money, distribute financial advice, and monetary policies for a country's economic health. The International Monetary Fund said it stands ready to use its 1 trillion lending capacity to help countries around the world in this problem. Furthermore, debt facilities are something that causes and limits debt. If the debt facilities increase, so does the debt of individual countries. Furthermore, without debt facilities, debt will not decrease. The IMF has lent about 165 billion to 83 nations and has helped these nations against debt. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Seeing that we have elapsed with all the speakers in the moderated caucus, I'll be looking for some more speakers because we have 20 minutes. Yes, delegates who are wishing to speak either once again or you haven't spoken already, I'll recognize you right now. So you may raise your hands. Alright, I see you, okay. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? I think not, so I'll just take you.
Excuse me, AB, can the delegates who have already spoken speak again?
Yes, I think so. Given that we have not really entertained 20 speakers as we should have been ideally, so I'll just take more speakers who want to speak once again.
Okay.
Should I add your name to the list, delegate? Or I'll just recognize Afghanistan, Brazil, and United Kingdom. You can just lower down your hands, and that's all for the Model Caucus. Thank you.
I'm sorry, my hand by mistake went up. I didn't want to speak.
It's all right, delegate. We have Afghanistan and then followed by United Kingdom, and that's all. Delegates of Afghanistan, you have the floor for 1 minute now. Delegates of Afghanistan.
Yes, so sorry, there was a network connection. Thank you, EB, for the recognition. The delegate of cancer I want to start with. The IMF has helped many countries recover from the debt crisis, but as the delegate of Afghanistan, we cannot. The delegate cannot comment about the new funds without knowing where the old funds have already gone. Our funds have completely been depleted as we are not getting funds from the IMF as well. Our We do not know where our old funds have gone, and there are no new funds coming in. uh, Discussing about the resource mapping, our country has been depleted of its resources, and the arbitrary funding from the eco ecosocs and regional funding. We can see that our country's funds have been depleted, with IMF still helping every country. The delegate of Afghanistan would just like to say we cannot uh, comment on the IMF if we do not know where our funds have already gone. Thank you.
All right, delegates, thank you for your inputs. Now we have with the interim delegate of UK.
Excuse me. Could I actually fix a mistake I made? Sorry.
Delegate, you can just specify that via chat, not right
I
now.
actually fumbled. Okay. Thank you.
So delegate UK, please go ahead. Delegate of UK.
Okay, thank you. I could not hear.
Yep.
We could not hear you.
It's all right.
Thank you for the recognition, Chairword. So we, as a delegation of the United Kingdom, would like to state that again. IMF is the crucial part for assistance the economic help. So a lot of as we've mentioned beforehand, a lot of countries have economic crisis. So some of them are domestic factors and some of them are caused by external factors. So how IMF lending helps? So IMF lending aims to give countries breathing room to implement adjustment policies in an orderly manner, which will restore conditions for a stable economy and sustainable growth. But these policies will vary depending upon the country's circumstances. For instance, a country facing a sudden drop in the prices of key exports may need financial assistance while implementing measures to strengthen the economy and will widen its export base. A country suffering from severe capital outflows may need to address the problems that led to the loss. Perhaps interest rates are too low, the budget deficit and debt stock are growing too fast, or the banking system is inefficient or poorly regulated. So, as a result, we'd like to say that the economic consultancy and assistance for a country is so crucial, and we, as all of the countries, all of the member states, and is in the IMF, should care about it and prioritize it. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Given that we have elapsed with the smart caucus, we'll be looking for another moderate caucus, right? So delegates, if you have any other moderate caucus, you may raise your hands now.
Yes, can we have maybe our representatives? Sorry, I'm the teacher for Italy, and we have the representative of what is your country? Sofia, what is your country? Guatemala. And which one do they have to talk about? Excuse me.
Actually, they're just deciding what topics to choose upon because we have already given them what topic they can choose from. So
You
it is
can
totally
choose.
yeah, it is
Okay.
totally upon them to just raise that motion in the committee, and we'll be good to go, and we'll have a vote upon it, and then we'll just discuss it.
Thank you, thank you. So maybe would you like to start Guatemala? Guatemala,
Point of parliament.
you can choose one.
Yes, I'll just recognize Guatemala. Don't
Right,
worry
sir.
about it.
Excuse me, sir. I am really sorry to interrupt. I believe our closing ceremony is at 5:30. So are we entertaining one more moderate caucus topic?
Sorry, my bad. Really, what's the time in India right now?
It's 5 p.m. and
Yeah,
our closing
yeah.
ceremony is at 5:30 IST.
Let's just take one more moderate caucus, and then we'll give
Or
our
let's have the
feedback.
closing speeches. Let's have the closing speeches from all the delegates.
Oh, yeah, we can have that too. Yeah. So delegates, given that we have a little paucity of time here, I'll be recognizing you guys for closing speeches, right?
This is
And
the
everyone,
GSS
yeah,
as your
everyone,
closing statements.
everyone is
Point of
required.
parliamentary inquiry.
Uh, yes, delegate.
Could the chairboard tell us how much time we have
For
until the
closing speech? Oh, it's half an hour.
half an hour for whole comedy?
Yeah,
To
that's right.
end. Okay, thank you.
That's right.
The speech should be of 90 seconds, right?
No, it should.
Precisely.
Delegate, I'll just answer all your questions. Just let me finish, right? All right. So we'll move on to doing a closing speech round where everyone alphabetically has to speak, right? And then everyone has to speak for 1 minute, and there's no total time on this. So just give your closing remarks, just like an ending remarks. It does not have to be technical in nature, just have to be collaborative in nature. So just want to say what you will say as a closing statement to whatever, just like conclude whatever you have done in the past past two sessions, right? So that's about the closing speeches. You have 1 minute to say your stance, and everyone has to say it. All right.
The delegate president has a question. Is it okay if we have a 5 minute short break to like go through our closing statement?
Yes, I'm totally all right with that. So you can have a 5 minute short break, formulate your closing speeches, and then we'll come back and take your closing speeches. That's all right for you guys?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you guys, the delegates, I break you into a 5 minute break. You can formulate your closing speeches now. Thank you. Feel free to turn off your cameras if you want to.
Could we ask the order of the closing remarks?
It's just in the alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So
Just
delegate
a
of
moment. Yes, I'm
delegate
sorry.
of Afghanistan, you have the floor for 1 minute.
Greetings. Thank you, Evie, for the recognition. The delegate of Afghanistan would like to focus on ways to evade the global debt crisis. While there are many ways that a country can evade the debt crisis, one of the best ways is still following one of the oldest ways: resource mapping.
One moment. Would you be kind enough to repeat so that we could share the time too, side by side?
No, delegate. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Right. I hope the time is visible.
Actually, you can just see the tab on top.
Just don't share the time credits. All right, you can just keep
It's
track
fine.
of it. Just don't share time, right? Yes, delegate of Afghanistan, you have the floor for 1 minute. You can just start from the beginning.
Greetings. Thank you, Evie, for the recognition. The delegate of Afghanistan would like to focus on ways to evade the global debt crisis. While there are many ways that a country can evade the debt crisis, one of the best ways is still finding one of the oldest ways: resource mapping. With resource mapping, we can find out what exactly in a country needs help and find out what exactly in a country does not need help. We can analyze the highs and lows of a country while also mapping out all of the indicators that a debt crisis can happen. While resource mapping can help a country, it can while let's take Afghanistan for example. Taking Afghanistan for example, the one of the let's resource map Afghanistan. Afghanistan's resources have been depleted by the humanitarian crisis and trying to bounce back from it. The recent Taliban takeover has also depleted Afghanistan's funds and resources. This could be an example of how, and Afghanistan would like to work on that. This could be an example for how resource mapping could help evade a debt crisis in not only Afghanistan but many countries. Thank you.
Wrap up, sir. Thank you.
So we have delegate of Austria. Delegate of Austria. I believe we don't have heard. I believe the delegate of Austria is not here. We'll go on delegate of Brazil now.
Can I start?
Yeah, you can start, delegate.
Good evening, Good evening, respective chair and fellow delegates. The delegate of Brazil is honored to have been a part of this session and would like to state their closing statement. The delegate of Brazil believes that the IMF should and will take steps towards a more debt-free future, and we have discussed many points on this most important topic. Brazil believes if we solve the root cause of many modern debts in moments of need, in many modern debts, which Brazil believes is bad financial decisions in moments of need, we can stop debt from happening again and stop debt that's already happening. The IMF, as a center of monetary experience and financial knowledge, has the upper hand to distribute this knowledge. The IMF should brief more countries and help more countries with advice on what to do in these times of need. Brazil has already benefited from the financial and expert knowledge of the IMF. The IMF helped Brazil through their information by releasing the Technical Assistance Report, strengthening the framework for substantial borrowing in Brazil on June 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next up, we have delegate of China.
Right, honorable chairperson, sir. Just a gentle reminder: we need to wrap up the committee in about 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll just take as many as we can. Delegate of China.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. In this mid session, I found that IMF is an organization that promotes global financial stability and economic growth and international trade. And the IMF helps member countries facing economic crisis by providing non uh, legal assistance and monitor economic policy. And and in this two commit session, I found that I learned a lot of solution to solve the debate problem, debate crisis, and I know that IMF is an organization can help the country in difficult economics too. That's concludes.
This
Thank
have
you.
stop you here because you will lapse your time, and we're running out of time right now. My bad. Yep. Next up, we have delegate of Denmark.
Thank you for recognition. The delegate of Denmark would like to conclude the past activity by saying that due to the International Monetary Fund, many countries, including Denmark, managed to recover economically in past tragic situation, and it has an important stance in global economy. The IMF managed to stabilize exchange rates, promotions of international trade, multilateral payment system, and many more. As such, Denmark was helped by the IMF during the global pandemic, as many countries were. I would like to conclude by saying that the IMF plays an important role in the Danish economy and is there to help at any time during harsh or normal times. Thank you for leading your attention.
Thank you, delegate. Next up, we have delegate of France. Delegate of France. I don't see delegate of France here. We'll take delegate of Guatemala now.
Yes, so the delegate of Guatemala would like to conclude by saying that based on the previous speeches, the economic crisis is obviously still spreading in every country for many different reasons. Such as war, climate changes, and international problems related to the internal dynamics of the countries. We should help each other. Surely the pandemic hasn't helped, but also thanks to it, many countries have had more opportunities to reduce their debt and to strengthen their economy with the help of the World Bank and obviously of the IMF. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next up, we have delegate of India.
Good evening, delegates. We all started yesterday with our opening speeches and the GSL discussing about the imminent global debt crisis, the global recession. It was indeed a great learning experience and it was an informative one. The delegate of India would now like to emphasize upon the solutions for the global debt crisis, fiscal consolidation, privatization, faster growth than debt, can prove beneficial for us. And at the end, I would like to conclude by saying, I wonder as I wander on this capitalistic road, perhaps we are working to find a way to ease this heavy load. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next up, we have delegate of Iran. Delegate of Iran. I don't see Iran here.
Yes.
Iran's here. Yeah. Delegate, you can go ahead.
All right. Thank you, respected chair, for once again giving me a chance to speak up. Fellow delegates, up till now, we have discussed the reasons from the debt crisis and the impacts from the pandemic to the global debt crisis. Although some solutions should have been discussed, such as helping the developing countries maintaining their annual budget, providing suggestions and taking actions to prevent further economical damage. In addition, loans should have small interest values. Lastly, I would like to mention that globalization and instead of westernization, modernization should be preferred. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Next, we have delegate of Lithuania. Delegate of Lithuania.
Thank you for recognition. So there are quite a few solutions for the debt crisis, but I chose one of the most that I think are the most usable. So we could have more green technologies, but the delegate of Lithuania would like to say their own opinion on this topic. I think so. They think there is nothing wrong with the debt crisis. It's completely abnormal because there will always be another crisis after this one. It will be solved and then it will be repeated like always. And you can't fix the debt crisis without taking loans. And the frustrating thing is the most that when people live in luxury and well-being, they take even more loans than ever. Thank you.
All right, delegate, thank you. Next up, we have delegate Mexico.
Um, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, delegate.
Thank you. Thank you for your recognition. The delegate of Mexico feels like the agenda of this committee, the global debt crisis, is a current subject that every country fights with and is going to fight for a long period of time. But the delegate of Mexico thinks that with the assistance of the UN, this problem will be solved or at least reduced, taking into account also the UN Sustainable Development Goals. If we fight together, we will gain together. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. I don't really think we'll be entertaining any more speakers because we have a lack of timing. I'll request Mr. Vancham, to give his feedback on the committee, and then we'll wrap it all up.
So no more final statements, sorry.
Yeah, no more final statements.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Vancham, are you here? All right, it's all right. I'll just give my feedback to you all. I believe you all did a pretty great job today. I think some valid points were brought up about like short-term lending and about how IMF is how about IMF's mandate, and some pretty valid suggestions were brought out too. I believe what you all can do, as I iterated yesterday too, is that you can add a little more technicality and focus on the how question. We all know what the what is, the what question, what we have to do, but we do not really know what how to do it, right? So I believe you can focus upon the how question because that will add substantive material into your speeches. Moreover, I would also recommend you guys to be more confident, and I'm more confident, and I would encourage you guys to speak a little more in your future conferences, right? And adding on to that, I'll just recommend you guys to go on with like confidence and just feel free to speak anything you want and while being civil, right? So that's all from my side.
Before that, thank you, Parth. I'd like
Thank
to
you,
just
sir.
give a small feedback, and I'll just see you guys at the closing ceremony at 11.
Can some
A point of
Yeah,
parliamentary inquiry.
yeah.
I doubt that every delegate did their speeches. So is it that since we don't have enough time, some of the delegates will not be able to make their speeches?
Yeah. So what can I do is for those delegates, they can send their speeches. The results haven't been made yet, so don't worry. The results will be made only like during the closing ceremony, so they haven't been given to the secretariat. So what you can do is it's 11. Sorry, it's like within the next 10 minutes, send your speeches on Telegram or on the Microsoft Teams chat, and I'll read them. Just because, anyways, there was no questioning on the closing statement or the mod caucus. Yeah. So just send me your speech. The closing ceremony, the closing statement. If you were not able to give a
We
closing
should send
statement
to who?
on the Microsoft Teams, type it on the public platform or the Telegram where we have the group discussion. Just send your speech over there. Don't worry, your speeches have been marked. Earlier speeches, like till now, have been marked either by me or by Parth, who is a
By the way,
very able
will it be
individual.
marked? By the way.
Yeah, it will be marked. Don't worry. Yeah,
Will be
that's why
marked.
I'm saying, yeah, just send it to me within 10 minutes so that I have like enough time to read it
Okay.
before I give the awards. Yeah. Yep. So delegates, just a small feedback from my side, and after that, you have to leave this committee room and go to the closing ceremony, which link has been shared already on Telegram. So make sure you join it. Um, See, again, the nature of the setup is as such that I can't give everyone an award. I have tried to recognize.
Join the closing ceremony, by the way.
Yeah, you can join after we end this. All right. So the
Awesome.
nature, yeah. Yeah, uh, so the nature of the committee, as such, I can't give everyone an award. Trust me, I wanted to. If you ask the secretariat, that I want everyone to get something from this conference. But I guess we all are getting something. I learned a lot from you guys. It was a very extensive, 2 days of debating. It was very good effort by each and every one of you, regardless from wherever you come. The committee went on a smooth speed, and trust me, delegates, when I say this, in India, in some of the immunes, you don't get to see this level, the level I have just seen over here. So I'm really surprised and shocked and really proud of SMSIMUN for organizing it. So just making sure that uh, y- you guys at least do one more conference after this, so that uh, the experience you got from here, you apply it anywhere else, and make sure you be on the top of the leaderboard in that committee. um and I highly apologize if anything went wrong on behalf of the secretariat or on behalf of the executive board or on behalf of the organizing committee of SMSIMUN, and hope to see you guys next year's edition. And best of luck for your future, everyone. See you at the closing ceremony. Please join it. There the awards will be
Right, should
announced.
we request the executive board to turn on their cameras for a group photograph, please?
All right, just a sec.
Right, Vice Chairperson, sir, Mr. Parth Butler, could we have your camera on too, please? Right, and all the delegates are requested to turn on the camera. Thank you.
Yeah, all good.
Right, just a moment, I turn mine. Vice Chairperson, sir, could we have your camera on too? Right, so cheese. Thank you.
Yep. See you, everyone. Bye bye.